Hey everyone, you are live with the Overland Podcast brought to you by Professor Bats and Friends. We got Tony with Bats Off Road Media in the house. We've got Brad with Go Explore, and we got a show coming to you right now. Stick around with us. Here we go. Woo! Thank you for joining us on the Overland Podcast, brought to you by Professor Bats and Friends. We love to talk about it all. The gear we like to use, the places we like to go, and the things we like to do. Sometimes we'll have guests. Sometimes it'll be just us. You never know what you might get. But you always have Bats Off-Road and the Professor. Thank you for joining us. No pros, just bros on this show. Here we go.
What's going on?
Here we go. Yeah. From being gone so long this summer, but hey, I had some good times and good places that we went and good memories that were made. But the most recent one that was made was in Kentucky. This past weekend. Well, weekend. It was like half the week and most of the weekend. So it was a little bit of both. So it was best of both worlds.
Yeah, buddy.
Now I have to admit, Kentucky is a very large state, and from one end to the other is a pretty good ways. And we went like all the way almost to West Virginia. I mean, it was a long ways over there because that's where. Were we in the Appalachians? Is that what they call that mountain range? Where were we?
Yeah, we were real close to it if we wasn't in it. I'd have to look at the map and see exactly, where it hits. But yeah, I saw some signs that said that made reference to the Appalachians. So yeah, I'm sure we were. If we weren't in it, we were close enough.
Yeah. That's definitely for sure. Well, we got some people joining on here. We got of course, we got Lady Overlander Radio. Arla's on here. We got Richard Brown. Hey, good evening. Tate Davis from Overland Spices is with us. We appreciate y'all being here with us. And Arla did make the comment that we all match. And yes, we do. Tony's and I's shirts are pretty new. Brad's looks like he's been out for about 10 years. It's a little faded. It's been in the sun, but it's been worn probably a few more times than ours had. Eli Sturgeon's in the house.
Eli, buddy.
Been a minute. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, so we got people joining us from all over, and I'm pretty excited about this little talk we're going to have because after all was said and done, even each day, there was so many people there, so many people to visit with. We really didn't get a chance to sit down and talk about your feeling about the whole thing, about how you think it went, different things like that. Tony and I got together a couple days, but wasn't able to get together the last day. And yeah, we made the trip back home several hundred miles together, all the way to Memphis, just about. And then we parted ways, and you were almost home by the time we got through Memphis because that's just torture. And so, anyways, tell us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Brad. Who are you? Where you live? All that good stuff.
Well, my name is Brad Brazel. I live in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm an avid Ole Miss fan, and I almost wore my Ole Miss hat tonight because I have to wear it before the Arkansas game because I never know how that's going to turn out.
Most people have. A lot of people have never seen you without it on. You're kind of known for that.
Yeah, the blue hat I had, it has definitely seen its better days, so I had to retire it, and so I got me a red. I figured I'd hold off on that. So, but anyway, so I live in Oxford, Mississippi. I started GoXplor about 2 years ago. This is our second year. We was only able to get 2 trips in last year. This year, we're hoping to get a total of 5. Not sure exactly how many we'll end up with, but we got 4 scheduled. Yeah. 3 scheduled and 1 in the works. So, and we already had 1. So hopefully all that stuff will work out. So our goal at GoXplorUSA is real simple. We want to take all the guesswork out of this thing we call overlanding. We all love to go to the big expos and see all the gear, and it's real easy to get excited about all the stuff that you can see and stuff that you can buy. But the bottom line is, you can take the daily driver that you drive to work on Monday, and on the weekend, in fact, we have a guy that has been on 2 trips with us so far. I love to tell the story because he brings his daily driver, no recovery gear, no winch, no nothing. He does have a fairly capable vehicle. It's 4-wheel drive, and it does have a locker, but he has all-terrain tires. And for his first trip, he went to Walmart, spent $30 on a tent, and I don't know what he brought some blankets and stuff, and had the time of his life, and had such a good time. He came back on this last Kentucky trip, and I really believe that he had a wonderful time again. And look at my truck, or Tony's, or Joey's truck, or any of them, and say, man, look at all this stuff that we have. And the bottom line is you don't have to have all that stuff to go out and enjoy yourself and do this thing that we call overlanding. So our purpose is kind of twofold. We want to specialize in helping those that have never been on a trip before to get out there. We want to give you the confidence, show you that you can drive your daily driver on the trails and have a good time without tearing it up. The goal is not to find the biggest mud hole you can find, not to climb the biggest rock. Our goal is laid back, relaxing. We want to educate you on how to drive a trail, how to look at a trail, and determine, where your tires are going to go, things of that nature. We want to educate you. When you leave Go Explore trip, we want you to feel more confident in your ability to go out and explore on your own. It may sound kind of crazy, but my goal is to introduce people to this, and then have them to at some point be able to go out on their own and have the confidence to get out there and enjoy this thing that we enjoy. You don't have to have all the gear. There are a few things that you need to consider and the things that you need to have. And the most important thing to me, I think, is a buddy, for sure. And a lot of people, you may be experienced. You may be more experienced than me or anybody else on our team. And still, I can tell you that if you go on a trip with us, number one, we have lots of people that have lots of experience. They're not there necessarily to learn how to drive or which is 2 things that we love to share. They're there because, number one, they're passing through, and they're like, hey, I'm coming from California going to the East Coast, and this trip fits in the middle of my trip, and I don't know where to go. And I don't have the time to do all the research and this, that, and the other. And so what we do is we fill that gap for you. We give you an opportunity as an experienced overlander to save time on your trip through, or your vacation, or however you want to look at it. We're going to be able to take you on trails that aren't. We're going to be able to provide meals that you may or may not be able to bring on your own. Do you have a fridge freezer? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you need a fridge freezer? No, you can get by with an ice chest. But if you go with us, you don't really need either one, because we've got all that stuff covered. People that do have experience that we've had on our trips, I always say, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you could go to a new place that you've never been to before, and we'll just take the Ozarks, for example. You could take an M people have never even heard of. You can take your Gaia map, and you can go through, and you can set you a route through the woods. I'm willing to bet that before the day is out, you will find trails that show open that aren't really open. You'll find yourself on trails that are much harder than you want to be on, trails that don't go all the way through, things of that nature. So we can save you time by having a route pre-done. We can save you time by already knowing where the campsites are. we're going to have all the hard work worked out for you. You can enjoy yourself and look at all the beautiful points of interest like waterfalls, overlooks, things of that nature that you may have drove by, regardless of your experience, whether you an experienced overlander or not. You may have driven within 100 feet of a waterfall that's just beautiful and never knew it was there. So, that's just some of the reasons that we could get into the food thing all day long and talk about the amazing meals that we love to cook. And between Joey and Danielle, man, I think a lot of us eat better on the trail than we do at home. I know the dessert sources, and each trip we do, they just blow me away with what they come up with, the menus that they come up with. And I tell you what, they are invaluable to Go Explore USA. Tony doing photographs. How often do you get to go out on the trail? And who knows? You may want to propose or something, and you could get pictures included of your proposal. It just goes with it, huh?
I've done that.
Yeah. But seriously, when you do a trip with us, you're going to end up with several hundred professional photos that were taken. I know everybody loves to take pictures and things of that nature with maybe their own cameras. Well, you're welcome to do that. In fact, we had some very talented photographers on our last trip, and they had the freedom to take pictures all they wanted to. But the bottom line is when they get back, they're going to get a file that has, like I said, several hundred pictures from a different perspective that are going to be professional pictures. And that's just not something that you get every day. There will be sometimes when schedules manage to work out. Matt from Ozark Overland Adventures likes to go on our trips. He does the trip from his perspective, and it might be that you just end up on an episode of Ozark Overland Adventures, which is always fun and cool. So, there's lots of reasons to pick Go Explore USA, and we're not just doing the Ozarks. Like I said, we just got back from Kentucky. We're working on some other locations that I think will be very popular. It's and things of that nature. And, once we get that stuff settled and get all the hard work done, some of these trips take a year to plan and multiple trips out of state to pre-run, just to make sure everything's going to go right. All the camping spots are secured. There's literally hundreds of hours that go into planning a trip. And as a customer, you just have to show up and bring your lunch and whatever you like to drink, your soda, your water, or whatever. And we pretty much provide the rest. And if you don't have a tent, a sleeping bag, sleeping pads, things of that nature, we have that available. I see Mike ask, are there any base camping trips? The permit we're working on right now will have a base camping option. Although we don't have that trip planned out right now, it's something that we're working on. So we're looking at having it so that if you have a trailer, I know a lot of people bring trailers on their trip. You can bring your trailer to a designated location. We will have that in a secure place where you can leave it for the day, and you can come back at night, and everything will be there and ready to go. So that's something else we're working on. Another thing we're working on is some actual backpacking trips. This is something that's going to be very new to us. I know this is an overland podcast, but a lot of people that do overlanding love to do hiking and backpacking as well, and so we're going to try to incorporate that too. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but hey, you never know till you try. And we've got a really nice location picked out to do a trip possibly this year. We'll see how the permit goes. So we'll just go from there.
That's cool. That's man, that's so much information. And I know that you want to put as much stuff out there as possible. That I want to tell everybody, we got the website scrolling along the bottom. If you want to find out more information about Go Explore and the trips they have coming up, you can go to GoXploruSA.com. Very good reasons to pick Go Explore USA. Whether you're new, whether you're experienced, you have put together a really good team I believe, even with Tony being a photographer, he's out there on the trails with you, and he knows trails, knows recovery, knows. I mean, he's done all the pretty much underneath of my FJ, and he's not even a Toyota guy, so he can fix anything. And so with Danielle being the head chef and me being her sidekick, it's pretty amazing and fun, and I learned something every time that we go out there. It's so fun to, and even though that we do have tong wars sometimes and tong fights, that we love each other and we get along really well and gel well together. And she is the one. I don't know if he can fix Land Rovers or not. Danielle said, "Can he fix Land Rovers?" She is the one that needs all the praise for the desserts and stuff. We had some amazing desserts, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit.
I know, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I love that.
Yeah, and so yeah, and one of the things, one of the feathers in your cap, Brad, that I think is part of the reason that you're having so much success. You put so much time into it. It's very professional, and each trip has people that return from a previous trip. That says a lot.
Right.
If they want to come back, that says a lot. And so I think that's really something that you can really put a feather in your cap on. Having pictures and photographs of your rig that you can't take while you're driving, that's invaluable. It's something, and they're so good quality you can put them on your wall. I mean, it's amazing from so many different angles, drone shots, whatever. That's something that you just don't get when you're just out there doing it by yourself or doing it with a buddy. So that's pretty much amazing. The people that I've seen that go on your trips, I have huge respect for. Just the small things that you notice, how they're more than willing to help each other out, whether set up tents. The very first night somebody's tent pole broke, and we had people ready to go to Walmart buy tent poles. When they're in line getting food and they come up and say, "Has everybody eaten?" Because they want to know, they want to make sure everybody's eaten before they go back for seconds. Just things like that. Very respectful. They love sitting around the fire. They love talking, tech talk or rig talk or just family talk, and bring their pets or whatever. It's friendly, it's fun, and there's not anybody that's ever complaining or griping or has anything bad to say. It's such a refreshing time, and that's one thing I love about it. And I think a lot of that comes from you, because you're just the smilingest, happiest guy. Even though your college team sucks, you just always have a really good attitude, smile on your face, and I'll go back. I'll probably regret that when Arkansas plays Ole Miss this year. I'll probably regret saying that, but anyway. But I love it, and yeah, you never know. You never know. Now this
I'll try.
Yeah, this trip was a little different for Tony. Let's see. Eli says, "Let me know if you ever need another rig to do a pre-run with you. I've got you one of these days. I'll go on one of your trips and have it on my channel as well, whatever with wheels." That's cool. Danielle says, "I love our customers. They have all been so fun," and that's true. And of course, Danielle's gonna say Brad's great, because Brad's great. I wish we could have Danielle on here. And Danielle, if you want to come on, just let us know. We'll send you the link so you can come on. I don't know if you're busy entertaining guests or cleaning the smoke out of your house or whatever you got to do, because your son about burnt your house down while you were gone. Anyway, we'd love to have you on. But Danielle is so fun. And even though the hair, yeah, she says her hair. Yeah, she's the Red Rocker.
No, my hair.
So anyway, we would love to have you, even though you probably look like Sammy Hagar, but that's okay. Now this trip was very different for Tony. Tony and I talked a little bit about this, because this is the first time that he's been on a trip like this and not had his rig. How different was that for you, Tony, and how did that make you feel? What challenges did that bring?
I felt completely out of my element a little bit because I was sort of living out of two vehicles from Wednesday to Sunday night, and just trying to mentally keep track of where everything was at, and knowing, um, knowing, where everything was. But it was really nice, having a home away from home. You know, Joey, you brought your extra 10 on your trailer, and you fixed me up big time, setting up the tent for me every day when you guys would move camp. And I mean, I was really spoiled in that regard. But yeah, it's just a different setup. But on the other hand, it allowed me to send that link, Sam. It allowed me to sort of forget about my truck as well and focus on trying to take pictures. So it was.
I'll say
Anyway.
I'll say this. It was different for me as well because Tony rode with me quite a bit, and one of the neat things I thought about this trip was that Tony was able to not only ride with me, we could talk about different shots, like at the moment, like, hey, this would be great or this would be great, and then he could also move from customer vehicle to customer vehicle for those of the that actually wanted him, ride with them or whatnot, and photos from a different perspective that they like Joey said, it's pictures that you can't take on your own, but yet it's a professional perspective of what's going on at the moment, and it's not like Tony's sitting there taking these pictures on his iPhone. I mean, he's got a sure enough jam up good camera, and all his equipment is just top of the line, and that there again, that's some of that equipment that you look at and say, oh man, it would be really nice to be able to have a nice camera. You don't have one, and that's something that we provide. One of the things that we are truly blessed with is the volume of cooking equipment that we have, and the ability to cook in volume. Any one of us, between Joey and Danielle and myself, when we put all of our gear together, we're able to get some food put out, and some quality food. And, if there are people that go on our trips that don't even own a stove, and that's just it. That's what makes our trips so amazing to me, and a blessing to folks is, there'll be people that are like, well, I don't even know if I want to get into this. I don't even know if this is something that I would want to do or not. And instead of them saying, hey, I'm just not going to go because I don't have any of this stuff. Well, we got all the stuff, and we've got tons of.
Most of us have 2 or 3 of the stuff.
Absolutely, yes. And so I'll be the first one to tell you that my way is to surround myself, as far as the staff and the volunteers and such, with people that are better at whatever it is they're doing than I am. I can't go on enough about how valuable the resources are as a group and as a whole, between Tony and Danielle and Joey and myself, and Bryce goes with us as well. Most of us have been on extended trips, not only the U.S. even, and I would be scared to add up all the experience that we have and the things that we've seen. And it's not that you're just getting my experience or my knowledge. You're getting the knowledge and experience of every single person that goes on this trip. That's truly invaluable, in my opinion. Just that's just one of those things that you can't put a price tag on.
Yeah, that's true. Totally agree. It's such a good experience, no matter how much experience that you have. And you might be one that has a lot of experience, and you're thinking, why would I want to go on this trip? Well, you could be a help to someone else. You
That's
could
right.
actually get out there and use your knowledge to help someone that doesn't have quite the experience that you do, but yet you still get all the benefits of everything else. You don't have to cook your breakfast, you don't have to cook your dinner, but you still get to go out there with people and help others, and maybe just leaders are learners, and we all have something to learn, and we've learned something on every single one of these trips, and so it's so fun to go out there and go with people who have uh, all different kinds of rigs. And Tony and I were talking about this. It's so neat to go through, um, to go down a trail and see how all the different rigs handle the terrain. So you have a Ford Raptor, you have a Land Rover 90. I think that's what it was. That's used to be a
Yeah.
right hand drive, and now it's a left hand drive, and it don't shift very good. And you get to see how that handles it, along with a couple built up Jeeps and
A new
Yep.
Bronco.
Bronco, and
New,
just
new
one of
dog.
a Ford F-150, and just one
Yeah.
of everything. Some XJs that are just outrageous. I get it's a
Uh,
90. She
uh,
said it's a 90.
stock,
Okay.
stock, as well as a fully built Rubicon.
Yeah, fully built
So
Rubicon.
yeah,
You get to see how it all
yeah,
happens, and and how they all do the trail, and that's fun. That's fun to get to see that, and it's fun for me to go through the pictures that Kara took and that Tony took, and see everything that y'all did. Now I've been on a trip with another place, another company that offers uh, trips like this, and it wasn't quite the experience that you offer. And I'm not going to say any names or anything, but they didn't secure the campsite, and when we got to the campsite that we were supposed to stay at, it was full, and then we spent the next 2 hours looking for a campsite. That's one of the things that we do. We communicate, whether it's through text message or satellite. We let you know where we are, so that way you don't have to go looking, and you have kind of a goal that you get to the campsite between 4 and 5 p.m. That way, you have everything set up. You let us know about what time you're going to get there. Danielle and I have dinner ready pretty close, so by the time you set your tent up, it's ready to eat. You're ready to eat. And in a normal
yep,
situation, when you're out there by yourself, you set everything up, and then you've got an hour and a half of cooking, and then you sit down and eat. By the time you eat, you're tired, and then you want to go to bed. Well, here you get to set your tent up, get everything set up. You get to eat and sit around the fire and have a good time. It's a total different experience.
And
And
you don't have to clean up and
yep,
put your
no, you don't have to
utensils
wash
away.
dishes. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry
yep.
about the trash. You don't have to do anything. We've got all the wood for the fire. We've got the food. We've got the desserts. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. So tell
It's
me,
a full
Brad.
service.
Yeah, it's full service. They don't. There's not
Yeah,
many things that are out there that are full service anymore. And but this is one of
it,
those, and it's fun.
and it's not just full service during the meal. It's full service from this particular trip was from Wednesday night until Sunday. I have the full support of the entire staff the entire time. So
Mm.
it's not like we're gonna we're gonna feed you and that's gonna take an hour and then we're gone. We're there 24/7 from the time you get there until the time you leave. And one thing that Joey mentioned was the satellite communicators, the inReach. We all have inReaches, and we've had scenarios where things have gone not so right, and we were able to communicate, and it turned into much less of an ordeal. We had satellite communications. We didn't need cell phone communication. That's another thing that a lot of people don't have and they don't think about. But to be able to communicate, we've never had, thank goodness, a medical emergency of any kind. Hope we never do. But in the event that that does happen, we have a plan and we have the ability to, for lack of a better word, evacuate, an individual if need be. We have, medical services. We know where they're at. We know where all the phone numbers are. We know, everybody has a responsibility in that scenario. And, that's another thing that a lot of times we don't think about. And, Joey mentioned a while ago about, you know, uh, the time that you spend doing the things that you normally do, like the cooking, the looking for a campsite, the setting up, all these things. When you can know that you're just going to roll into camp, if you want to set your tent up right then, you can. If you want to wait till later, you can. Within a few minutes, you're going to have a meal, and you get to hang out and enjoy yourself. And Joe, you were saying a while ago about everybody sitting around the campfire and enjoying themselves. There was a couple times this week that the laughter and the joy around the campfire was so loud that it was hard to carry on a private conversation. Everybody was just having such a good time and enjoying themselves, and man, that is one of the things that I love is the campfire time for sure.
Yep.
It was fun. Yep. Definitely fun. Now, so this past trip, earlier this year, we did the Ouachitas. We did a pre-run for the Ozarks that's coming up 1st of November, and I believe there's also, we're going to get into the calendar here in just a little bit, what you got, the trips you got coming up. I know you got a women's trip coming up, and also the Ozarks coming up to finish out the year. But this time, and you've been planning this for a while because you chose Kentucky, the Kentucky Adventure Tour a while ago. You did a pre-run. Was it about a year ago? Was it over a year ago that you did a pre-run?
A year ago, March. Yeah, it was a year ago in March. So it was over a year.
Okay. Do you make it kind of a rule that you always do a pre-run to get an idea of what you're going to be getting into?
I do, and the reason I do that is, for one, the MVUM map is what's provided by the Forest Service, and that is the holy grail of trails that are open and trails that are closed. The quickest way to get in trouble is to be on a trail that is closed on the MVUM map. Appears to be open on Gaia or Onyx or whatever platform you're using, and it might even be that you pull up to a trail and it looks like people are driving down this thing every day. You need to know whether that trail is actually open or not, and it may be closed because half a mile down the trail there's a landslide or some other danger that there's a reason for it to be closed. The other thing is our goal is we want people to be able to take fairly stock trips. We don't want our trips to be just for people on like 36, 38 inch tires. Those people can come and they will have a great time on our trips. However, we also want, like I said earlier, the guy that's going to be driving this thing to work on Monday. You have the Ouachita trip that we did. We had a stock Cherokee, a current year model Cherokee, and they did great. Everything was fine. I'm not sure what the ground clearance is on it, probably 8 inch, but they had some good all-terrain tires on it. It was four-wheel drive, and they had a great time. We want to have some trips that are available to those folks, but in time, and occasionally we'll have a scenario where, like this Kentucky trip, we had a 33 inch tire minimum, or maybe it was actually 32. I personally run 33 inch tires. It's the biggest tire I'm ever going to run. I think that's plenty of tire for being an overlander. I'm able to go out. I'm able to look at a trail. Number one, I can tell you, yeah, it's open or no, it's not. I can tell you if it's tight, if it's wide, can we get a full-size truck down it? Can we not? Are you going to get stuck between two trees? Which I heard happen to someone this weekend on their way home. Is it going to be something that we can get a stock vehicle down, or is it something that's going to be way too much? In my opinion, on one of my trips, and I have not done my pre-work, and our ultimate goal is no damage, and we want you to have a good time, and we want you to be able to drive that vehicle home or to work on Monday, whatever the scenario may be. So our goal is to Number one, we're going to have a good time. It's going to be challenging. It's not going to be, all gravel and pavement. Um, but we also have to be able to manage that. People ask me, people ask me, well, how hard are the trails? Well, that's an impossible question to answer because it really depends on the hardest trail you've been on. If the hardest trail you've been on is a gravel road, and we go and do something that has a 10-inch ledge on it, let's say, that would be the hardest trail you've ever done. But for someone like Tony that's got larger tires, stuff, he might not even notice that ledge is there. So it's all in your perspective, and it's all in what your experience level is. We want to keep it so that everyone can go and have a good time and enjoy themselves, and not have to worry about damage or that kind of stuff. So yeah, we pre-run every trip. Number one, because we want to save time when we're there. We want to make the most of your time, and we want it to be enjoyable. We don't want it to be a scenario where you're running through mud hole driving. You end up, getting water in your vehicle, something like that, or worse, in your motor. That's not fun for anybody. And we're going to do our best to protect you from that. And we have a policy where, let's say we do pick a trail and we have a customer that says, man, I'm just not comfortable doing that. Perfectly fine. We will do everything we can to either route you around that, or we'll route the whole group around it. Our goal is we're not judging people. We're not looking for, any kind of criticism for experience or anything like that. Everybody is more than welcome to share, their concerns and their thoughts. And most of the time we end up educating them, and by the time they leave the trip, they are gunning to go find harder trails and more fun. And we have one customer, the one that had the Cherokee on the Ouachita trip, in a brand new to them Rubicon on stock tires with a winch, and they had an amazing time on the Kentucky trip. And so he told me that he sold his Corvette when he got home and went and bought him a Rubicon, and now they're hooked. So
that's awesome.
And they're actually, his wife is bringing the Rubicon on the women's trip, and he's bringing it back for the Ozark trip. So
that's cool.
Super happy to see them and to see the growth that they have as a family, and how they're getting that confidence in their driving, and adding. I see them adding gear, each trip, and they're just slowly but surely. That's right, Danielle, Paula. That's exactly right. She was actually the first lady to sign up for the ladies' trip. I was super happy to see that. So
very cool.
But yeah, seeing the growth of the customers as they do more trips and more trips. Man, that's what it's all about. Hey, Steve, I was wondering how you were doing, man. Yeah, Steve was signed up for the trip in an unfortunate motorcycle accident and was not able to make it. So we've been praying for Steve, and we've checked on him a couple times. And Steve, I hope you're getting better every day, man. I sure do. And we'll get you back out on the trails soon, I hope. So just a shout out to Steve and Belinda and all they're dealing with, and I hope everything's getting better every day for them. So
that's cool. Well, I appreciate Michael being on here all the way in Alaska, and I appreciate you joining in. I have no idea what the time difference is there. It's got to be like in the middle of the night there. Who knows? Actually, it's probably earlier.
It's earlier.
It goes the other way. Yeah, goes
probably
the other
3 or 4 hours.
Mason Berry is on here from Blue Line Overland. Huge supporter of Blue Line. Appreciate you being on here, brother. Well, tell us, Brad, why did you pick, out of all the places that you could go, why did you pick Kentucky?
Are you there?
Did he die?
We lost Brad.
Lost Brad.
Lost audio.
440 there in Alaska. So, Brad, you went out for a little bit and you came back in, so you may have lost audio. You may have to get out and get back in. And me and Tony will talk for just a minute. But fried chicken. Oh yes, Danielle says, why do we go to Kentucky? Because of the fried chicken. That's awesome. Um, well, Tony, what did you think about the scene? Brad, are you there? Can you hear us? No,
I
he
just
can't
sent
hear
him
us.
yeah, he said he lost sound. I just sent him a message to
Yeah, he's gonna
get
get out
out
and
and
get
get
back
back
in.
in.
Okay, Tony, what did you think about the scenery there, the trails and stuff, as far as photography goes? What kind of uh, what made it hard? What made it easy?
Well, so the scenery was is very beautiful. You know, rolling hills. Reminded me a lot of some of the areas that we go to in the Ozarks.
Hmm.
You know, with the trees and the deep ravines and things. How about
Yeah,
now, Brad?
we got you,
I
Brad.
got you now. I lost the audio there.
All right, cool deal.
Sorry
There
about
we
that. I
go.
lost.
No big deal. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so the scenery was fantastic. Like I was saying, it reminded me, and Brad and I talked about this when we were moving along, is that it reminded us a lot of the Ozarks. You know, the switchbacks areas with the ravines and the kind of the nice waterfall areas. So it's real pretty. The arch,
Which
depending
one?
on which one.
The
Yeah.
tiny one or the big one?
No,
There was
no, the
one
big
like this
one,
big.
the big one. You know, that was one of the first hikes I've been on in a while, and I really enjoyed that. Just a beautiful area. I don't recall the name of the arch, and Brad probably knows it, but it's just a great opportunity to get out and not only uh, off road, but do some hiking. You know, during the day,
Hmm.
stop and get out and take a break. And it's hard to take pictures of that stuff when you're moving along. You know, so it's good to get out and stop and view these places and stuff. So
Brad, where was the first place that we met when we met up on Wednesday night? What state park was that, and where was that?
So Wednesday night we met up at Indian Mountain State Park. When we do a trip, um, I found it best when I give an address or a location, it's going to be someplace that you can just put into any cell phone, and it's going to take you right
Mm.
there. I'm not going to give you a GPS coordinates out in the middle of the woods and say, "Hey, just meet us here, and if you find it,
Yeah,
great. If you don't, so be it." You know. So we always meet at a place that's very easy to get to. Generally, you get to it off of pavement, and it's someplace that you can just put in your cell phone, and it'll take you right there.
that's
Um,
I
so
like that because Tony and I had to leave after work, and we didn't roll in until, well, it was 3:30 Eastern time when we got there, and
hey,
so being
AM,
a.m.
yeah,
There's two of those in a day. If people don't know that, there's two 3:30s in a day. So having to go out in the middle of the woods and look for y'all would have been a chore, and I would have been a very grumpy guy. So GPS took us right to you, and it was real nice that we were able to pull in, get a couple hours sleep before we got up and started cooking breakfast. So
yeah,
uh, love that you start out in a place that's easy to find.
yep.
and Tony
Um,
was Arch. That was Split Bow Arch that we went to. What
Split
was the name
boat.
of Split Bow Arch? Yeah. One of the things that we do on all of our trips is we incorporate. You know, there was a time when I was doing the overland thing, and we would spend 10 hours in the truck. Um, it was almost like um, we just wanted to see how much ground we could cover and how fast we could do it. And
Mm,
by the end of the day, I was wore out. I was spent. I'm like, I
mm.
don't even want to eat. I want to set up my tent. I want to get in and go sleep. I don't want to sit by the campfire. I don't want to do nothing but sleep. Um, what I've done is in the planning of a trip, I've incorporated points of interest like Split Bow Arch, where um, that would have been a place. I mean, there was some signs for Football Arch, but for the most part, that would have been something that you could have easily driven by and just not thought a whole lot about it. And had no idea that you were feet from the road from this beautiful natural arch that you could hike to and enjoy some time. We probably spent an hour or more hiking around down there and just looking at the beautiful rock formations and the native plants that they have, the beautiful flowers. I know a lot of people talked about the way the trees would grow out of the arch, and it's like, how in the world does a tree that big grow out of the side of a rock,
Yeah.
and still hang on? So we take the time to, we park the truck, we get out, we go look at some stuff. We enjoy nature. We enjoy, we don't do hikes on these trips. We're not going to hike, 3 miles or anything like that. Usually it's going to be a few hundred yards to maybe, I think the longest hike we've ever done one way was maybe 3/4 of a mile. But it was really flat, and it was basically you had to walk down a gravel road that was closed to see a beautiful waterfall. And everybody that went said it was well worth it. So, I love waterfalls. I love scenic overlooks and things of that nature. And that's one of the things that we do. You're not going to be in the truck all day for the most part. Now, if it's raining, bad weather, whatnot, we may skip something and say, hey, we don't want to, it's coming a monsoon.
So this was a Thursday,
Uh-oh.
Friday, Saturday. He froze up again. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we came home Sunday. We met on Wednesday, but the thing actually didn't start until Thursday. So there was pretty much 1, 2, 3 days of driving. Um, I think we've lost Brad because he's frozen in time. I don't. I was going to ask him how many miles we did. Tony, do you have a clue how many miles we did on this trip?
I don't. I don't have any
I think
idea.
he's Danielle. If she's on here, I think she knows. It was about 130 miles, something like that. Brad's back.
I'm
Brad's
back.
back. Hey, how many miles? How many miles was this trip total from Thursday to Saturday? He froze again. And internet's not that great in Mississippi, so you just have to kind of deal with it. There he is. There he is.
I can hear you again. Maybe it'll hang on.
How many miles was the trip, Brad? Total.
It was close to 300.
300. Okay.
Right at 300. So
you did about 100 miles a day. Is that what the average was?
Yeah, pretty close to it. That's right. Our goal, depending on where we're at, in the Ozarks we can't get that far.
Right.
There's just too much off road. We generally go about 60 miles a day in the Ozarks. Maybe a few more or a few less, depending on campsites availability and things of that nature. The Kentucky Adventure Tour is different in that the camping is much different than what we're used to in the Ozarks. They don't allow just dispersed camping like what we're used to. We were able to bring a few more vehicles on this trip simply because all the camping we did was on private property. This is something that I set up and was able to, contact landowners and things of that nature and work out provisions for us to have, places to camp that were secluded, not, the second night we stayed at Bandy Creek, but there was nowhere anywhere near us, and we had some great facilities available. That was not an area in the KAT.
Pause for station identification. That's one of the things that I really loved about this trip was that first night we stayed in a state park. Second night we stayed in a state park inside of a national park, and it was like the Taj Mahal. It was like the Hilton in the middle of the woods.
Bandy was real nice.
We had our own spot. We had the cleanest showers I've ever seen in a state park.
Yeah.
We even had a pavilion to ourselves that was enclosed with mosquito wire. It was so stinking cool. The bathrooms were amazing. I loved it. The next night we stayed in a hip camp, which was pretty much an open field in the middle of nowhere. And it was just like camping in the woods.
Yep.
It was close to a river, like a muddy river. And then the last night, it's called Screen in Civilization. Okay. And then the last night we stayed at a, I think it wasn't it another hip camp place?
It was.
But it was a camp. It was a campground that offered like shuttle service for canoes, and it was right on a river that was beautiful. That river was beautiful. So we experienced a little bit of everything in this, and I love that you were able to do the research and provide that in a place where there is no wild camping. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you can camp anywhere in the national forest." Well, sometimes that's not the case. And so we had to improvise, overcome, adapt, as Clint Eastwood would say, and we made it mosquito wire. You should have walked up there, Danielle. You would have seen mosquito wire. It's little bitty. Mosquitoes can't even fit through the wire. It was so cool. So anyway, it wasn't a net. I promise you, it wasn't a net.
Not just regular screen.
No, it wasn't regular screen. It was cool. It was cool. Well, you didn't see it. Yeah. Now, Danielle and our role was we were the ones that went ahead. We went to Walmart almost every day. If people needed anything, we picked up what they needed. We got duct tape for somebody who broke a pole in their tent. We got food for the next night. We actually bought some treats for everybody that they didn't expect. I turned my fridge down to a freezer, and we were able to have ice cream and brought that out with the desserts. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, overlanding with ice cream. We never get this." And that's exactly what I was thinking when I told Danielle. I was like, "We should get ice cream." And that was so fun to get that. We were able to get, towels and trash bags and make sure everybody had everything that they needed. And then we would go to the campsite, secure the campsite, make sure we had enough room, make sure that we were checked in. We had the wood, the fire pit, whatever. And then we would keep in touch with y'all to make sure that we had dinner ready by the time we got there. And we would cook dinner, do the desserts. And then the next morning we would cook breakfast. The dinners were very challenging this time. We kind of stretched ourselves as far as the menu went. It wasn't anything. We didn't have like tacos and cheeseburgers and hot dogs. We didn't do that. The first night when you got there, we had pork butts. Danielle had fixed some kind of something that she said everybody loved. I can't even remember what that was because I wasn't there. I was driving.
Yeah.
The second night we did jambalaya.
Yeah.
And it turned out amazing.
Yep.
It was so good. We even shocked ourselves at how good that was. A one pot jambalaya was really good. Mexican street corn salad, as she said. Everybody loved that. So the third night we did chicken kebabs, and I can't remember. Oh, she made homemade mashed potatoes to go with that. We had blueberry
vegetables, like grilled vegetables
cobbler,
or something.
Grilled vegetables with that. Had with fried rice. Let's see. We also had blueberry peach fried cobblers that we cooked in the Dutch oven with ice cream. She made s'more dip. It was so much fun. So much fun. We really, really, and then the last night, when you're in Kentucky, you got to do as the Kentuckians and have fried chicken. So we had grilled chicken, fried chicken, asparagus, and then we had some cobblers that night. But
that marinade she had, man, was so good. The fried chicken was amazing.
Off the charts good. Even when I would test it, because that's what I do, I test the food to make sure it's not poison.
Right.
I was like, this is really good. And so anyway,
And that's
well,
after
thank you,
you'd
Daniel.
already had fried chicken that
Yeah.
day.
Well,
'Cause
that's
you
going to be in
all.
my highlights. That's going to be in my highlights. And I
Oh,
want to
sorry,
ask,
sorry,
I want to
sorry.
ask you both. I want to ask you both on this Kentucky trip, Brad. Give me some highlights. Give me some memories that you took home with you.
So let's see here. Andrew brought his son. There's nothing better than spending time, with your dad and with your son. He let him drive some. Bryce let him drive the 90 some.
Cool.
To me, building those memories with family is priceless. That's a time that they'll never lose, no matter what happens.
Of course.
Yeah. Tony, what were some highlights for you?
Okay, so well, I mean the food. The food was just is worthy of one big highlight for the whole, like every day.
We'll come back to you, Brad.
The food was just every day. I really enjoyed riding in the 90. I got a kick out of Milo, the Labradoodle. Sort of made me miss my dogs at home. And then Brad's V-notch experience. I don't know if we want to get into that, but
yeah.
But
anyway,
I'm looking forward.
I'm a proponent of being an example of what not to do. I feel like it's my responsibility as a guide that I have to be able to lead by example and be like, hey, this is what you don't do. So it happened.
Yeah, if y'all are listening and you want to see what happened, you've got to be looking for Ozark Overland Adventures video on this trip. Because it'll be in there, and it's just
gonna be good.
It's gonna be fun. So
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, go ahead with your highlights. You got one.
I mentioned this earlier. Jim and Paula, seeing them grow and seeing the excitement on their face, driving that Rubicon on the trail and seeing how much better it did than the Cherokee. They are going to have so many adventures together as a couple and as a family, and they're getting their kids involved. They're getting other family members involved. They're coming on other trips later on in the year. To me, that's what GoXplorUSA is all about. It's not about me. It's not about it's not about the staff. It's all about the customer experience and what they leave with, and the memories, the excitement, the photographs, the videos, the friendships. The friendships are amazing. I know Gary. He likes to go on trips, to other states and things of that nature. And he was talking about a trip that he's wanting to do, and he's like, hey, if y'all want to go, you're welcome to go, whatnot. And I think that's amazing. That they're getting now. Gary is a very confident and very experienced off-roader. He's been a lot of places, and he's one of those guys that has a very built rig, but he just loves to come and hang out and meet new people and just enjoy himself. And to see him encouraging people, and Mike Hanks, for example, he I think the 2 times we've ever used a winch on our trips, it's always been Mike's winch.
Yeah.
So I told him before he left on Sunday, I said, Mike, I may be needing to buy you a winch rope or something, man, for your services, because
you done stretched his out.
I'm getting more use out of his winch than he is. But unfortunately, like we were talking about a while ago, Mike did actually winch me out of a spot. But the good news is I was the only person that had to be winched, and the only person that got stuck. So, and it was my fault. It was 100% driver error. I was talking on the radio telling people, hey, you need to straddle this giant rut because if you fall in it, you're going to be in trouble. And about that time, I'm almost in Tony's lap.
Yeah, I didn't even get to get out. We were so
Yeah.
far sideways, I was looking at the ground out my door, out my window. So
yeah. Tony, I don't even think he could have rolled the window down and crawled out. It was that.
Yeah, I think we may have lost him again, but I tried. Like I unbuckled and I reached out and I grabbed the roof rack and I tried to bend to see if I could make it out the window, and it just wasn't happening.
Wasn't happening. No.
There's Brad. There, nice back.
Well, Danielle says that her highlights were Bryce being there. That's always good when your significant other can be there. Yeah. And Bryce is so much fun. And kudos to Bryce. Bryce has one of the coolest rigs anywhere, anytime. That 90 is amazing. And he just let anybody drive it. I mean, he let them be all over it. He worked on it, broke it, fixed it, changed some few things up in it, showed it to everybody, let them drive it. Just the coolest guy out there. Laughs cooking with me, of course. We're going to have fun. And the people being there. The people's what make the trip.
Absolutely.
So they really made for a good trip. My highlights, 1,800 miles and my FJ didn't break down. That was a super highlight for me, pulling the trailer. Some of those crazy hills. I was praying the whole time. I had my wife praying the whole time. I was pretty nervous. 230 something thousand miles on that thing and still going.
It did really well.
It was fun. First time I've ever pulled the trailer and slept in both tents or had somebody sleep in both tents. That was cool. Tony going with me. That was fun. We had some good conversations, and we don't ever get to spend that much time together. And that was cool. And having him try the tent out and sitting there saying, "What do you think about that tent?" That was cool.
I love that tent. That's the first time I've had a chance to try out the clam or the wedge, the wedge style.
Yeah,
I love it, man. It was good.
Cooking with Danielle is always super fun. I just absolutely love that. And when she looks at me and says, "Okay, the recipe says this, but we're going to do this," that's when I get this huge smile on my face and like, yep, we're changing this up. It's going to be one of a kind. It's going to be super cool and super good. I love that. Getting to go to the original Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh my gosh. I got to put my arm around Colonel Sanders and take a selfie with Colonel Sanders and eat some original KFC. That was so good. You could taste the 11 herbs and spices. I mean, you just could do it.
You can keep the KFC. I'll take your chicken any day.
Oh, well. That was all Danielle, because all I did was bread it and put it in the fryer, and that was it. She did all the prep work, and I owe so much to her doing all that work beforehand, making it easy. A lot of people don't realize how much work goes into these trips, the planning ahead, the getting the permits, the going to Costco and buying bulk for 21 people. Doing all the prep work and cutting all the onions and peppers and marinating the chicken and getting the freezers and the fridges stocked and making sure you got enough room and making sure that we got the food where it's supposed to be so we can get it cooked, and hauling that humongous flat grill around that does not stack on anything. It slides everywhere. It's a pain in the butt, but you got to have it.
That's right.
And all the work that goes into this, it was, and just like she says, it was all worth it to see everybody's smiling face and to see. We would cook stuff and we would say, we're going to have so much left over. We'll have this again tomorrow. And then we go look and there's nothing left. And that was a super highlight for me, and people saying how good it was. And, that's amazing. And, we pour our hearts and souls into that, and just to get rewarded by compliments is, and, for people to say it's good is one thing, but for them to eat it all, that's another.
And it wasn't just one meal. It was every meal that was wiped out.
Yeah. Every single one.
Yeah.
It was good. Well, we've reached our time. Man, what's such a good conversation and such a great trip. We had a great time. It was tough getting there so late. It was a long drive home, but it was worth it. And I came back to work and people said, I can't believe you drove 1,800 miles in 4 days. And I said, you just don't know. You just don't understand the experience, and the relaxation and the memories that you make in such a short time. Yeah, it was a long ways over there. But Brad drives a long ways to get to Arkansas when he comes here too. So he puts the time in, puts the work in. Such a great organization, such a great business that people should look into. Make sure and give GoXplorUSA a follow on Facebook and Instagram. Check out the website www.goexplorusa.com. Tell us about the trips you got coming up, Brad.
So the next trip we have is the women's trip. It's going to be in the Ozarks. It's going to be led by Danielle and Kara.
Do you have any space open available for that?
There is no space open on that. That thing filled up.
Wow, that's cool. And Brad and I will be doing the cooking for that. So
I don't know if I should apologize to the ladies ahead of time or not. Joey will be head chef. I will be sous chef, and I don't even know.
I was told that the women love hot dogs. So we're going to be having probably hot dogs and chips every meal, even breakfast.
Yeah. All right.
So it'll be great. It'll be great.
Fun. That'll be
well,
fun.
We have lost Brad. Now Brad's back again. Brad just takes.
I'll try to be quick. So we're going to try to do a real special menu for the ladies trip. We're going to throw in a couple surprises, I hope, and I'm so excited for that. And it's going to be awesome because it's going to be only women drivers, led by women, and then the men will be basically serving them the best meals we can put together. And I think it's going to be amazing. Then the following weekend, that trip is October 27th through 29th. Then
last weekend in October.
Then November 3 through 5, we're going to have another run through the Ozarks. It'll be open to everybody, as far as it doesn't matter if it's male or female driver or whatever. It is also full. And so we're looking forward to that trip. And we got to get together on this, but there may be another trip before the end of the year. I don't know. It'll just depend on everybody's schedule. So the permit took a little longer than what I expected. I really had planned on having it a little sooner than now, but it's about to get into the time where all the expos and stuff are going, and everybody's going to be so busy with holidays and stuff. So it may be closer to the beginning of the year, but we're definitely going to do another at least 2 Ozark trips next year. We're planning on going back to the Cat. We're going to try to do at least another couple 100 to 300 miles of the Cat. It'll be a different section. Basically, we'll pick up where we left off and just go. And then, like I said, hopefully we will have some backpacking and stuff in there too. I know that's going to be something that's a little different for us, but I think it's going to be good. We have some outlets where we're going to be able to advertise that, and hopefully we'll be able to get at least one trip in and see how it goes. And if it works, great. If it don't, then we'll know. I want to thank our sponsors for sure, the people that support GoXplorUSA. Shop Overland Apparel has not only my stuff but Joey's. I know. Tony, I'm not sure if you've got stuff with them right now or not, but awesome. So, if you're looking for apparel, whether it's our stuff or somebody else's, I think they said they had over 100 people that are on their site now that they're selling stuff for. So go check them out. That's Shop Overland Apparel. Anti-gravity batteries provides power for, charging all the Midland radios that we have provided by Midland. We carry Go Treads on our vehicle for recovery. That family is just amazing. That product, they're constantly making it better and better. I saw they had something new on the market the other day, like a holder of some sort to mount them. That's going to be awesome. Overland Spices always come through for us on providing spices for our customers and such. We love that. In fact, I had some snorkel on my salmon tonight. It was amazing. Trail Rated Coffee for providing the GoXplorUSA coffee for us. They're in a transition right now, so it might be a little bit before we can get some more coffee, but we love those guys too, and just want to support them any way we can. So thanks again for having me, Joey and Tony. I value you guys. I value Danielle and Bryce. GoXplorUSA would not be what it is without all of you. This is not something that I could do by myself. It's a group thing, and it benefits the customer for sure. I don't know that I could put together a better team, and Bryce too. In addition to some volunteers we have from time to time, it'll be a great trip, regardless of where we go or when we do it. So give us a shout, and hey, even if you don't book a trip, if you've got questions about overlanding, about gear, about your vehicle, we will answer any question that you have. Hit me up, whether you're on a trip or not. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to help people get out there and enjoy, God's country and what's been provided for us in a safe manner. We promote tread lightly principles, and that's our goal: is to get people out, get them educated, get them confident in their skills, and get them out on their own and enjoying this thing that we love, that we call overlanding.
I love it. I love it. And when you go on one of these trips, you become a member of the GoXplorUSA family.
That's right.
And you will meet friends that will last a lifetime.
That's right.
Well, on behalf of Brad and Tony and myself, thank you for joining the Overland Podcast. We appreciate you being here. There's 1,000 different places you could be, but you chose to be here. This will be up on all podcast platforms very soon, along with a few more things that Tony and I recorded on the trail. And we look forward to hearing from you about all that. Until then, hope you have a wonderful week. Look out for number 1. To be looking on the Gaia maps.
Yeah.
GAIA maps.
Yeah.
You would notice that we are a heck of a long ways from where we started and from where we're going.